Alright, let me set the scene for you. It's 1928 in York County, Pennsylvania. And Nelson Rehmeyer, a man who was known for practicing, well, let's call it folk magic, gets brutally murdered in his home. Now, if you've never heard of him, that's okay. But trust me, the story behind his death is like a mix of true crime and supernatural folklore that will make you raise an eyebrow. Let's just say things didn't end well for Rehmeyer, and it all goes back to the hex. Now, the Hex House wasn't actually named that at first, but it became known by that name after everything went down. Rehmeyer was a Pennsylvania Dutchman, and people in his community thought he was practicing powwow magic, an old form of folk healing. Some people believed in his powers, others, not so much. But things got real interesting when a local man named John Rehmeyer decided he needed Rehmeyer's help. See, Rehmeyer had fallen on hard times, and instead of turning to regular medicine, he thought he could solve his problems with magic. But it wasn't just any magic. No, he wanted Rehmeyer to remove a hex that had been put on him. Yeah, Rehmeyer thought he was cursed, and he figured Nelson was the man who could lift it. But things didn't go as planned. When Rehmeyer refused to help, Rehmeyer did not take it well. He was convinced that Nelson was the one who had cursed him in the first place. So, you guessed it, Rehmeyer and two other accomplices, John Curry and James Shiflett, decided they were going to take matters into their own hands. And that's when things took a seriously dark turn. On November 27, 1928, the three men went to Rehmeyer's house. They beat him, strangled him, and ultimately killed him. And they didn't stop there. They stole his body and tried to burn it, thinking that if they destroyed him, the hex would be lifted. But guess what? That didn't work. Not only did they fail to lift any curse, but they also left behind a trail of evidence that would eventually lead the authorities right to them. Now, you'd think this would be the end of the story, right? But nope, that's when things get even weirder. The murder became a national sensation because of the whole hex angle. People couldn't wrap their heads around the fact that someone would kill over magic. Like, what? But the twist here is that while some believed Rehmeyer really did have the power to curse people, it's more likely that Rehmeyer he really didn't like being told no. He wanted what he wanted, and that was the end of it. So the three men were caught, tried, and eventually convicted of murder. Rehmeyer was sentenced to death, but ended up getting his sentence commuted to life in prison. The other two got long prison sentences as well. As for the Hex House, well, it gained some fame, and now it stands as a bizarre piece of local history, one that mixes crime, superstition, and a whole lot of crazy.